Today will be a simple, short thing about using programming every day and creating a self-catered programming journey. When you first start out programming and using Java, Python, C++, whichever language that you choose, you're going to have to, and probably recommended, to try something that is a little bit too hard. Like, for example, making a file renamer. So there is one online where you can change file names. I think it's called bulk rename utility, and it's a old program that somebody made a while back, and it's basically GUI and file manipulation where you change the name of files and such. And it's okay to try something that hard when you don't have the skills to do it. And what you would do is you would break up the program into components or parts, and then you make a project based on each part. And that is essentially how you learn to make bigger projects. And what you find is that you can make even bigger projects after you've broken up these projects to components. So what I mean by that, let's say you make this file rename GUI, right, that I just showed you. Well, then you know now how to do file manipulation, and you know now how to do GUI stuff. So because you know these two things, you can use them in a bigger program that needs GUI, file manipulation, and then let's say you need a little bit of web development or database stuff. Well, because you've done those two, it's easier to make this even bigger project. And so what you do over time is you use these projects in order to collect components, collect parts, like this file manipulation, like this GUI stuff, whatever database stuff, web stuff. So that's okay. So for example, the file renamer would be the file manipulation and the GUI. Let's say you want to make a voice assistant. So what you would do is you would learn how to do voice capture, optimizing that, and then you would do string manipulation because all the voice assistant does is it captures it and then it puts it into strings. Let's say you want to make a website, so you learn how to do front end and you learn how to do back end. And then later on you add database. Web development is great. And all of this stuff, um, just do it every day. I mean, that's it. That just use programming every day. Do it for a minimum of like 30 minutes and do not stop, and break these things up and make it something you enjoy. And then it's like Googling everything. So that's essentially what the programmer does. He Googles everything. But in the beginning, you will have to, and I put it with like a capital HAVE, you will have to use a course. So, because in the beginning you don't know what you don't know, and you need programming fundamentals that are the same in every single language, so you only have to learn it once, really. So, these fundamentals are best given to you in a course. Now, I mean like Udemy or a YouTube course or university, all those three are great. And you need to learn data structures and algorithms. So after you do your programming fundamentals, then you learn data structures and algorithms, and then you're pretty much set to learn like technologies through Googling. So like in the beginning, you won't understand all the stuff you Google on Stack Overflow or in those library documentation, all that documentation. You won't understand it without programming fundamentals and even data structures and algorithms. You just won't, because you honestly just don't know what you're looking at. And so when I Google things, it looks very much different than when a beginner Googles things. Much different. So when I Google things, everything makes sense because I understand the fundamentals of everything in that specific language. So um, after you've learned the fundamentals, after you've done the data structures and algorithms, after you've mastered Googling, and you've broken things up into these components over time, you start finding that each field has a niche way of doing things. So web development has a certain way of manifesting web pages. Okay, game development has a certain way of operating its game engine, and you have to make whole new components, whole new parts, like web development, making manifesting the web pages, making the web pages. making them interactive. All of these are components that are within those technologies. So, like, how do you add scripts to a 3D model, right? In game development. Well, that's its own component, So each technology that, machine learning, you have to know the math. You have to know a lot of math in order to understand how to manipulate those large arrays. I don't, if you know what I'm talking about. Um, there are a lot of components in machine learning. So when you go to each technology, you have to do the same thing all over again. But you absolutely need those foundational learnings, the fundamentals, the abstraction algorithms in every single technology. So, um, and then do the component thing, and it's just freaking awesome. So, um, I hope that helps. Make a quickie for you, and enjoy your programming journey. Yeah, yeah. Oh, something I always forget to say. If you haven't subscribed and you want to see more videos, you want to support the channel, encourage me to make more videos like these, subscribe. Subscribe and like, leave a comment, but number one, subscribe. Need to get to 1,000. It's going to take a while to get there. So, all right, now enjoy your coding journey.